Hello and welcome to our 31 Who special on Galaxy's Doctor Who weekend.
In the next half hour, we celebrate the massive following that the programme Doctor Who has around the world. Indeed, for some fans, their enthusiasm seems to have carried them through time and space to other worlds altogether.
But wherever they were, we sent film crews to find them, whether in far-flung America or at an otherwise ordinary school in Abingdon.
Our special guest, a treat for fans and Galaxy viewers alike, include the current Time Lord.
We've a Doctor Who quiz, so you can pitch your wits and knowledge of Doctor Who against our experts, who include our own companion, John Nathan Turner, the man who produced Doctor Who through the 80s.
Well, I've been doing a little bit of swatting here, but I just hope I answer one or two right.
And no cheating either. But first, our guest today is the current good Doctor Sylvester McCoy. Welcome to you. Now, Doctor Who conventions, of course, are becoming ever popular. What are they like?
Well, do you really want me to tell you right now?
Just a little bit.
Well, they're kind of a weekend where people dress up and fantasize and live their fantasies.
And you can see lots of Doctor Who's all around the place. Lots of you. Should like the next bit anyway, Sylvester. Eh, Sharma?
Yes, because the Doctor Who fan network extends the world over, even to countries where it's never been televised and is only available on video. In America, as you might expect, they do things bigger. And when they organise conventions, Doctor Who fans descend in large numbers.
Welcome to Concord, California, and Unicon 90, our annual Doctor Who convention.
Doctor Who is a major obsession in the US, with conventions attracting up to 5,000 fans. Even a small one like this takes some organising.
Unit 16 today. We're breaking up at the photo session. They'll be going out to their talks and everything.
Unit 15, this is Unit 18.
Unit 15 clear.
And this being America, everyone's important. The senior steward glories in the title of Supreme Commander.
Base to Unit 1.
Base to Unit 1.
Everything's going A-OK, everything's going A-OK. Unit 1 to base. This is John Levine trying to get more camera time. Hold on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the John Levine soiree. I didn't know I was this popular.
The 600 fans attending Unicon 90 have a choice of tried and tested entertainment.
So now you know we
Talks by stars of Doctor Who like John Levine.
And anything to do like Doctor Who was a wonderful thing to be involved in. And there were so many funny aspects of it, obviously.
Huge amounts of magazines, memorabilia, photos, and generally anything connected with the Who phenomenon.
Should I have a picture? M.A. It's amazing. That was only taken literally a week before TimeCon.
3 of the big names from Britain have turned out this year. Terry Nation should have been the top draw, but couldn't make it due to illness. In fact, it's the very Britishness of it all that appeals to these American fans.
It's the English flavor to it that really makes it, really adds to the fun. It's got that touch of whimsy to it in many cases that I personally am fond of, being a fan of British movies and comedies and so forth. And to me, it's also, I think one of the reasons I think it's fun is because they're able to pull so many ideas or twists on old ideas out of the hats on what could have to be the most incredible odds against succeeding that you can imagine. I mean, this is they always say Star Trek is the show that wouldn't die. Doctor Who is the one that really deserves that credit. I mean, 26 seasons or 26 years, that is quite a record which has not been matched yet.
Hey, John.
Many of the fans here are younger than the show itself. Claudia Castro is just 20, and a prime example of what makes US fans different. Their overwhelming compulsion to dress up.
Costumes, you see costume contests. Some of the costumes are absolutely unbelievable. The inventiveness that people put in, sometimes with almost next to nothing to play with. And they come up with some of the darndest things you've ever seen.
Well, you might say I am the 7th Doctor. I would say the most fashionable incarnation yet.
This is my interpretation of the Master, if the Master were a female.
Nissa from Keeper of Troughton.
Oh, this is the 4th Doctor, Tom Baker. I found the coat almost as it is and made a few alterations in it. As a woman, if you want to dress up as a doctor, you don't have a lot of choice. And also I knit, and so this was a, you know, an easy costume to put together for me.
Well, from what I could tell, she wore red shoes, blue nylons, and had a three-colored skirt that was red, blue, and yellow. These aren't the exact colors, but they were as close as I could get.
I did make a vest for my sister. She sometimes dresses as Peter Davison, the Fifth Doctor. I made a cricket vest for her.
I guess watching Doctor Who and getting involved with the show has given me a whole new identity, one that's certainly more exciting than my usual one.
Well, Sylvester McCoy is here. Sylvester, you go to these conventions all the time. Now, as the current Doctor Who, you must get mobbed.
Well, yes, it is an extraordinary experience. I got the job once on a Monday. On a Thursday, they flew me to Atlanta, Georgia. And there was I, who they'd never heard of before, suddenly being blinded by flashlights and everyone grabbing me, wanted to know every ounce of history that I had about myself. Very extraordinary experience.
Is it quite frightening? Because they're terribly keen and quite obsessive, aren't they?
Well, yes, but it's not frightening once you get used to it. I mean, after a while, you start to enjoy it. I mean, being a performer myself, I suddenly realised, here's a captive audience. They actually like me before I arrive. So I go out there and just kind of rabbit away and do a kind of a stand-up comedy show for them. Not as Doctor Who, but as Sylvester McCoy. Because they want to know me, because they see me on the telly, but they want to know the real guy behind it all.
But do you walk in and they're all wearing your hat and they want Sylvester
Yes.
McCoy workshops and things to find out how to be a doctor?
Oh, yes, yes, they all do. I mean, the most extraordinary one I went to was, I went to one in Scotland, and being a Scot, most of the people are turned up for a Doctor Who convention there dressed as myself. Lots of them in other various countries dressed as the various favourite doctors. But there, all of them turned up. And I remember coming down, it was in Paisley, the art, it was the big imposing building. I came down these stairs, dressed in civvies. I looked behind me, I looked across the road, this lady was pushing a pram. She double took, couldn't believe it, because behind me were hundreds of me. And I found that really, you know, amazing and extraordinary.
Is it part of your job description to go to these conventions, or is it something you do for love?
Well, I think it's part, I mean, it turns out to be part of the job, but you actually do enjoy it. It's, I mean, to be adored, you know, for a weekend is rather nice.
And is it like making a personal appearance? I mean, do you actually get paid for it, or do you just get your sarnie and the bus ticket?
Oh, you get the sarnie and the bus ticket, and, you know, a bit of luxury living in the hotels they stick you up in and all that, and they fly you out there. And they're really nice to you, you know.
Well, we're going to find out in a minute about the British conventions, I think, aren't we, Debs?
And the fans, indeed, that sounds like great fun, doesn't it? Now, on this side of the Atlantic, Whovians are just as active with their own fan magazines and conventions too. One such enthusiast is Andrew Beech, by day an awfully sensible solicitor, but in his free time he is without equal. When he gets home at night after work, he's transformed into a superfan.
Basically, I joined the Society back in 1976, more or less when it started, and was very much an armchair member up at home in Yorkshire, just sitting there getting my monthly newsletter, right up until about 1984, when I got my job down in London. And not knowing very many people down here, obviously this is a ready-made social scene, so off I went to the Tavern, which is the pub where everybody meets up on the first Thursday of a month to discuss the programme and other things. One of the things that is interesting is that I joined the Society to actually meet like-minded people, and I certainly have done that. But as the programme has gone on and I've got older and new fans have been attracted, you find that although you have this common interest, in actual fact, I have very little in common specifically with younger fans who only started watching it when Peter Davison, Colin Baker, or even Sylvester McCoy took over. And if I start talking about what I enjoyed about William Hartnell or Patrick Troughton, they really don't know what I'm talking about. Fortunately, with BSB showing the programme again, and with the increase in releases by BBC Enterprises, people are beginning to see that, and that makes it easier. But there can be some quite serious arguments about what is good Doctor Who and what isn't. Not that any of us are really qualified to judge, except in the sense of being the viewing public.
Now, what's a bridge for, eh?
Well, crossing?
Right. So stop dilly-dallying and cross it.
Wait! You faded him again.
I did not
Yes,
fade
you
it. You
certainly
saw
did.
him.
You
Faded it.
But who was that?
Me.
Me!
The Society does a number of things. I personally am involved in the convention side of it, where we have various events where we invite people along to play silly games, discuss the programme, interview them generally.
He turned round, the door opened, and probably a Dalek came in and shot him. And that was his part on Doctor Who.
The Society recently did some research into who was popular at conventions. Doctors are definitely the #1 favourite, followed by companions. And then supporting artists. It's mainly the actors that people out there tend to go for, which I think is slightly a shame, because very often it's the supporting people, the people who play the monsters whose faces are never seen.
And it was also mentioned that the part of the cyber leader was going.
The programme's been going for 30 years. It's been done in a variety of different styles, ranging from comedy through action-adventure to drama to horror. And you just can't compare it. I mean, it's been the fact that it can completely change its style that has kept it fresh and interesting for generations of viewers.
And Andrew Beech is a contestant in our trivia quiz later on, when one of the specialist subjects will be Sylvester McCoy. Can you believe it? You are. What do you think about these fans, then? You can't tell them from their outside appearances, can you?
Tell them what?
You can't tell that they're so fanatical.
Well, I don't know. Yes, I'm delighted that they are. I think it's rather good, really, because not only is it just people dressing up, but what it does is people write, they create magazines, they get into drama. In a sense, it's an excuse for them to be part of an artistic expression, would you believe? That's highfalutin. But it gives them that. And young people especially, it's really good to see them making their own. They do paintings, they create little dramas, they write them. It's good.
When it was nearly going to be suspended in 1985, do you think without the support and the uproar that was caused by the fans that they wouldn't have carried on with Doctor Who?
I just think so, yes, yes. That and the fact that someone in America threatened to kill Michael Grade.
Yeah,
if someone threatened to kill me, I'd bring it back, yes.
Have you got any memorabilia in your lounge?
Well, I do get stuff from, you know, Doctor Who fans. They sweetly give me presents of myself. So I've got lots of funny little, you know,
nice of them.
Well, and delightfully made, you know, kind of models of myself. My sons take them home and fire darts at them when they're really angry at me.
What do they think of Doctor Who, your sons?
Well, they enjoy it. I mean, they enjoy the programme. They didn't watch it before I got the part. That was because it was taken off when they came to the age of becoming hooked by Doctor Who, and so they never got into it until I arrived.
Do they
I think
ever
they're quite pleased.
Do they ever give you any tips or advice?
Oh, yes, they do sometimes give me advice, you know.
Like what?
Well, you know, my youngest son gets slightly embarrassed at my overacting sometimes.
Really? And do you watch it at home yourself?
Well, yes, I'm the only one that hides behind the couch when I come on.
Not the Daleks.
Not the Daleks, no. It's just when I come on, I'm hidden behind the couch.
Right, well, was you like me when I was little, with the Cybermen and the Daleks? Still, well, as it must be clear by now, Doctor Who mania can strike at any age. We caught up with two fans still at school in the sixth form. They wanted to share their excitement with others, so they took on the older fans and decided to run their own convention in their school at Abingdon.
This must be the place.
The convention has attracted all sorts of people. I got the idea from the convention. I had a dream. I woke up in the middle of the night and wrote it down, and then I told a lot of people, oh yes, I'm going to organise a Doctor Who convention. And of course, by the time I'd told that many people, I had to do something about it, and so I did. There's been a lot of things involved in organising it. Quite a lot of things have gone wrong. It's been difficult, but it's been fun. Unfortunately, when the Daleks came out of the great big sliding door, they kept bumping into each other because they couldn't see where they were going. Then for the TARDIS that was meant to materialise with us in it,
of dry ice.
Amongst a magnificent cloud of dry ice and flashing lights, whoever was operating the dry ice machine had some problems, and instead of going down and covering up the TARDIS being pushed on, the dry ice all went up and sort of almost choked the person operating the machine. Right, we've got a whole day of stuff lined up for you, and there seems to be quite a lot of you here, which is quite pleasing. It seems to be taking sort of more or less a year to organise this. We're using, I think, somewhere around 56 lights or something, different lights, all controlled individually from the control room. Plus, we've got a lot of sound mixing equipment up there. It's attracted a lot of sort of media attention, partially because we're sort of so young. I mean, I'm 17 and he's 18. And to be organising something like this, people sort of say, well done, or else they say, well, is he doing this right?
Oh, look, it isn't Tom Baker.
The appeal of the conventions are just the fact that you have all sorts of people here, different walks of life, different age groups that all share a common interest. When you live at home, you talk to friends, and they all think you're a little bit mad. When you come here, you realise there are other people that share the same interest, so you don't feel quite so isolated.
I'm enjoying myself immensely. It's brilliant fun. I could do this all year round.
After the break, we've a Doctor Who trivia quiz to test 3 fans on our very own guide, John Nathan Turner. Stay with us and see if you can do better than the guests.